And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token liberal. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a civil conversation when we disagree. Because remember, common sense has no political affiliations. What is going on?
What is happening? What are you guys up to? How was your evening last night? Still got lots of new changes here on the stream site here, right? I like it.
Yeah, I never stop, bro. I never fucking, even right now as we're speaking, I'm gonna update something. Yeah, because if you look at the bottom just below me, I'm kind of chopping the head off, like the top portion, because everything's done manually, right? And I'm very, very OCD. I can see that the live button doesn't align with the logo, so I'm gonna change that right now as we speak, so that it's prettier.
Yeah, no, do your thing. Misfit says there's breaking news in the USA News section. I assume that's at the on the Discord channel. And let us see.
What is it about? Because we got like 15 topics we want to cover. We're very hopeful.
Looks like it's a kind of a, who is that? It's like a blonde woman. Is that the press secretary doing a very weird, unusual press briefing? But yeah, we might get if we have time, we'll see if we can get to it.
Oh fuck, we might.
But we got a background. We got a full deck out there for sure.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me see. Is this better? Ooh, Zawing. Yeah, now the live is aligned properly upstairs at the bottom. My OCD is better. Now we can start. I'm so OCD, bro. It fucking drives me absolutely ballistic.
Now we can.
I think you're starting to learn that I'm very anal when it comes to that stuff. But what do you guys think of the new background? Like, people that are watching, what do you think about the new background? Got a new logo done. Fucking love it. Actually, we got two.
I really like
the one at the bottom right is brand new, and the background, the one that you guys don't see, is a very cool too. So I'm curious, guys, what do you think about the new logo?
Cheryl, how's your
opinion on this?
How's it going, Cheryl? Misfit, yes, in fact it is, which is, I'm sure you know, a universal symbol of distress.
Yes, and I like the fact that the arrow, like, it looks like an arrow in the middle, because it's not, right? Yeah. It's really just, hold on. It's just, I'm going to show it. I want to see what people think, because I really like it. Like, I think we did, I had a good idea, like, originally, but having a guy just do it properly, it looks like military. That was my goal, like, to make it look like almost like a military, you know, like an old school patch that you have that's been beaten up, that's been beaded. That's the effect I was going for.
Yep, no, it looks good.
Let me see. I'll show it to the people out there.
Guys, how's everyone doing out there today? Looks, what is it? Thursday. We got a ton of shit to talk about, of course. Good, lots of stuff on deck for you guys. Some interesting stuff going on in international news, especially. Okay, yeah. So that's different from what we had?
It's just that it's more professional looking. Like it, I was the one that did it, right? So the font was out of order. The flag was more wavy. It would have been hard to put on embroidered, because I'm telling you, starting probably within the next 3 weeks to a month, you're going to start seeing me wearing some gears. Like, I'm going to design I've designed a lot of clothes in my past, so I know how to use it, how to do it. So I'll spend a few days over the next couple of weeks designing a bunch of stuff. But I wanted something, I know what goes well on a cap, what can be embroidered. Same thing on t-shirts. So I know that this will embroider better than what I had designed, because mine was too much like a graffiti. So it doesn't translate well. But yeah, either way. What do you guys think of the new logo? I'm just...
I got a comment from Darren. Having Rob's window on the left and Nico's on the right is both subtle and clever. Yeah, we did that on purpose. And that is actually my brother.
Is it really?
Yeah, coming at you Calgary, Alberta. What's
It's
going
not
on, bro?
another guy you met in a bar and you
Yeah,
fucked.
yeah. It's my common law partner. Why we share the same last name.
Darren, what's going on, brother? Heard about you.
Yeah,
Hopefully, Rob refuses to invite me to a family dinner. He doesn't want me to throw some shit bomb.
I mean,
shit grenade.
Yeah.
Shit grenade.
I don't actually refuse, but yeah, if it actually came up, I mean, we'd have to go over a list of topics. Can't discuss.
Sorry, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
don't work with me, bro.
I can imagine. You probably you probably had that talk many times in your life, and I bet it never worked, eh?
It takes about 5 minutes. I won't bring it up, but if you open the door,
yeah.
Because he's more conservative too.
He is, yeah. He would love it for sure.
Done. We will make that happen, brother.
My two younger sisters who.
I love to fuck with women, liberal women. They're the best.
Yeah. Well, that's them.
They're the best.
That's definitely them.
You know, that's why my sister doesn't talk to me anymore. My mother is a massive liberal too. That's why we don't have a relationship either.
Yeah. We kind of intentionally leave politics off the table just because, it isn't worth getting, dividing the family, and it has a potential, right? There's a reason why a lot of people don't talk politics or religion in public settings.
Yet it is one of the most politics, religion, money, like those are three things that people don't like to talk about, yet everything is derived by those three. It's like, okay, you're allowed to run, but you can't use your feet, you can't put shoes on, and you need to sit down.
Yeah.
So good luck. So it makes for superficial conversation and even more superficial relationships.
Well,
that's why when the smallest of thing happens, it breaks down family. That's why what happened in 2020, 2021 broke so many families, because they wouldn't have that conversation. Because if you look at
I don't agree there. I think it's because some people insisted on having the conversation. You can definitely not talk politics and have good relations with your family. And in fact, oftentimes
you can't,
it's necessary
unless you're censoring yourself. Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's just being polite. I mean, that's
no, that's just being not you. No, that's just being not you. Because if it always only works one way. Exactly like in politics in Canada, the left is allowed to drill my head with their fucking bullshit, but if I counter with arguments, then I become the problem. Why do you think that's happening? Is because we don't encourage those conversations, which is why what you and I do, in my opinion, is so important. Because absolutely. We get to open those conversations. So there's no subject that should be tabooed. And you know what's interesting is that you look at my mother-in-law, which is a very liberal woman, very similar to my mom, but we can have those conversations. And many times she's looked at me, she's like, you know what? I don't agree with you, but thank you for the conversation, as in she's open to the conversation. I'm not here to convince people. If it happens, awesome. We should be able to hear the other side of the story. And unfortunately, I think we can all agree that in Canada, we don't hear the conservative portion of the equation. It's just always what the left thinks, because they've been in power for 10 years. Like, let's not lie to each other here.
No doubt. It does. It's definitely one side that is typically unable to have any type of productive conversation, as you said, this show is meant to act as a model for how to have these sorts of discussions, hopefully this show takes off and sort of become people or point to it. Why don't you go check that show out? I'm being modest. Obviously,
I'm such a modest individual too. I don't know if that translates into the camera, but I'm so humble. so humble.
Yeah.
And we're going to test that new window at the bottom right there. I just kind of changed the background so that we can test. There's a new window provided by our streaming platform that should show you guys' comments on screen.
Oh, can you move that around?
Not that I know of. I do not believe that I'm able to. I would love to, because I'd put it smack there, like kind of right in the middle.
Yep.
So it wouldn't cover anything, but we'll test it out, see how it works.
Right there, yeah.
See, it is kind of cool, actually. See, wise guy. First text. You're the first comment that appears on screen. Zwing, zwing.
Yeah, I like this. I like the comments there down on the right.
I'm gonna check. By the way, I just looked at the what Misfit posted on the Discord server. It's a 12-minute long, 13-minute long video. So I'm not gonna play 13 minutes of an unknown video on screen. And as much as I like you, Misfit, I don't trust you at all. So for all I know, it's full of bukakis and penises.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can't, I can't show that.
Yeah.
I had that conversation with my wife afterwards. She's like, "What the fuck's a bukkake?"
What is bukkake?
She's like, "Is that a type of dance?"
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Does your brother know? Darren, do you know what a bukkake is?
I'm sure Darren does. Darren, what do you think?
It's a man thing, right?
Most guys know.
We all fucking know what it is.
Yeah.
And like I said yesterday, if you're single, first question, 2 questions you need to ask your date. What is your name me a good memory that you have of your father. If she gets pissed off, pay the bill, get the fuck out of there. And the second question you need to ask her is do you know what a bukkake is? If she knows what it is, pay the bill, get the fuck out of there.
Question number 2 is going to be related to question number 1.
Oh, there we go. Wow, there we go.
There's going to be a connection there.
Thank you for seeing that. Thank you very much.
Misfit says we've been demonized for too long for having opposing views, and I'm assuming you're meaning people on the right. And as someone on the left, I could not agree more with what you're saying. I think
your brother is gonna fit right in. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I like your brother already.
Oh, that's not.
Hold on. Once I picked up, so for the guys, if you don't know, Darren Ambrose is Rob's older brother. And he says here, once I picked up Robbie's phone by mistake. I love the fact you're calling him Robbie.
Yeah, he does.
Once I picked up Robbie's phone by mistake, and that's when I learned what both bukkake and grinder was. It is true. Yesterday, when I Googled bukkake on the show, something was different from the last time I looked at it. There was a lot of dudes.
A lot of dudes, eh? Yeah.
I'm like, fuck? That changed since the last time I checked.
Just for clarification, that's actually not true. However, there is a funny story kind of related to that. Darren, do you remember when you got me? He got me a Dre Beats pill, you know, the wireless speakers for Christmas a couple years back. And I'm like, oh, cool. Anyway, so I connected it just to make sure it works. Good to go. Later on, I had to go use the bathroom, and you're in the bathroom, and doing number 2, and you're opening your browser, and I wasn't actually watching porn, but I had been like at a previous time, so it was on my browser. So I'm like, oh, okay, and I was like, oh, I can't hear it. Crank the volume max, and then I hear out in my living room, my fucking family is gathered around the Christmas tree. Oh shit! So that was a funny story.
Before we go into it, I'm just gonna say this. The last time I worked in an office about 4 years ago, if you left, we worked for a smaller company, so man, it was insane the type of shit we do to each other. But if you had the misfortune of leaving your laptop open on screen, like unlocked,
okay,
we always had the same thing. We would play a video of a really big black guy with a massive schlong, fucking a midget. It was fucking awesome. And we would lock it, change your password on your lock screen, and then zawing. So that's playing with volume in the background. You can't change your.
Love those pranks. Those are great.
Oh, of course.
Gotcha. But he gets fired for sexual harassment. Ooh.
Sorry, bro. Not sorry.
Yeah, shouldn't have left it up there. Cheryl says, at Nico and Rob, what's great about this show is that it does promote conversation rather than the separation that is promoted by the higher ups in the media. They want us fighting and separating. That's a great comment. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to do here. When me and Nico started this show, as we were talking, we sort of, we kind of realized when you actually get away from the media who tells us we should actually be mortal enemies, you realize there's actually a lot of common ground that you have on issues as long as you approach it with some common sense and the idea that you might not necessarily be right. And when you do that, you're going to find a lot of common ground. And that's kind of the model that I was saying we're trying to show here, that there is a different way that lefties and righties can debate politics and have political discourse without the toxic, you're the enemy, you're wrong, just screaming at each other from across the aisle that I don't think is productive at all, but is unfortunately the primary type of political discourse these days. So thank you for that,
brother. I'll take this one before we jump into it. But Misfit is saying, "Oh, there's always dick pic on the background after it was switched to the Chinese language." Oh yeah, that is awesome. Because you're like, what the fuck? I cannot. So unless you're a tech guy that knows all the menus by heart, like I was,
or North Chinese.
You're fucked. Oh, well, Chinese is not a language. It's either Mandarin or Cantonese. If you want to be correct about it,
very pedantic. Yes. Correct on that.
Yeah. I'm that asshole that will correct you.
Yes.
Again, I don't think it's surprising.
Nope.
So should we start right in the middle of it? Like right with the topic of the day where we're going to talk about the Golden Dome. But before you do, it's so funny because you know what it's based on, right? The American Golden Dome. Basically, the US have been giving Israel some money over the years, and Israel has built the Iron Dome. But Trump being Trump, he cannot call it the Iron Dome. He needed to call it something that was more majestic. Although he might never agree or admit to this, we all know that he likes the fucking golden. Like you see his apartment and his houses, they're covered in gold. Of course, he called it the Golden Glow, the Golden Dome, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, he's his whole place is just covered in gold. I mean, it's a bit tacky to me, but I mean, I guess if you can,
it's not a bit tacky. It's extremely fucking tacky. Yeah. But I guess his skin's orange. He likes yellow.
It all fits. Joe,
so you got.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say you got.
Joe Stradamus says we will always have more in common with each other than with the ownership class that divides us. Another great comment, and I couldn't agree more.
Morning, Therese.
Morning.
And Jesus, Misfit, the golden shower does have a nice ring to it. It is true. If water goes through the Golden Dome, does it become golden shower?
Yep.
Wow, Misfit. That's actually an intelligent comment.
Yeah, coming through in the clutch.
You want to play? So you got some videos for us so that we can understand what the Golden Dome is, and then. Did you ever find a video that shows Carney wanting to be part of it, or do we stick? With article?
I've got a couple videos of Carney.
Awesome.
And let me see here. I've got. I think I have one here of Donald Trump trying, just sort of explaining it.
It's going to be the greatest. I wish Jason
was here. The greatest dome. The best
is going to be the greatest dome. The best. Oh, yeah, the best dome. It's going to be golden.
Yeah.
And it's going to change the rain into a golden shower. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be magnificent.
Just for some context, so we all know what we're talking about. This is included in the big, beautiful bill that you might have been hearing about. Let's see here, which is, I mean, honestly, I haven't even dug into that. Maybe we should.
Thank you for being here in the Oval Office as we make a historic announcement about the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland. The one big, beautiful bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome.
It's a generational investment in the security of America and Americans. Golden Dome is a bold and aggressive approach to hurry up and protect the homeland from our adversaries. The Golden Dome is going to be an even bigger legacy for our country.
The Congress is stepping up, as you mentioned, right now in the budget reconciliation bill.
Some funding is tough and some is easy. When we say we're going to save everyone's lives in a crazy world, it seems to be very easy to get.
Our enemies, our adversaries, are going to pay a lot of attention to this, just like they have to President Trump from day one. So you're defending the homeland, defending the American people. So thank you for your leadership.
Nothing like a round of sucking up to the president.
Yeah, of course. You're the best. Thank you for your leadership, sir.
You are the best at golden showers. You are.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Yep. And that's kind of what the cost of admission to be part of Trump's inner circle. That's his thing. He needs to be worshipped and praised. And we all know that.
But I do agree with the Golden Dome, though. Like there's a good reason if you look at Israel, for example, like if Jason is in the comment section, he's just not talking. Don't spill your Starbucks coffee just yet. all I'm gonna say, love Israel or not, they've developed some fucking crazy technology over the years, and their Iron Dome is extremely useful to protect themselves against all the countries that keeps firing missiles at them. So it makes sense for the US to do the same. Hopefully Carney can get his elbows up and get us as part of that deal. I know that's
Yes.
the plan, so let's see what happens, but I understand why it's there. I understand why it's needed, and it's unfortunate that we live in a world where that type of technology needs to exist, but hopefully King Carney can suck his way into the Golden Dome. Oh, wow, that
Yeah.
sounds really dirty. That make for a great porn name, eh?
Because what
Carney and the Golden Dome.
So I agree with you. I think just from a basic national security perspective, it makes a lot of sense for America, and it also makes sense for Canada to be part of that because just our proximity there. Hypothetically, a lot of the risk might come from Russia, and if any missiles come from Russia, they're going to come over the Arctic, over Canada. So it makes sense for why America would want to partner with Canada on that. So I do have some videos here of Carney, and it's kind of like it's kind of like the tariff issue, I think, where it's actually probably the right
issue.
Well, it's probably the right policy, right? Like removing retaliatory tariffs was probably the right policy. And so on the one hand, yeah, better late than never. At least he got there. But on a bigger issue, it really seems to go against everything Carney is supposed to stand for and everything that he said in the election, the elbows up. Remember that very first press conference he gave where the relationship with the United States is forever changed. We'll never be the same. And then he immediately goes back to acting as if the relationship has not changed at all. Because this is exactly the kind of thing that historically Canada would partner on, like NORAD, for example.
Which I agree with, right?
Exactly, right. And so it's a bit, if you're doing political commentary like we are, you kind of like, okay, yeah, he got there, but on the deeper level,
he sold.
Yeah, on the deeper level, this is not what he was doing. You wonder what his supporters, because I feel like they don't, I feel like no matter what they're going to do, they're never going to admit that they were wrong or duped. So we'll just get right into that. This is Carney.
It's dogma at this point. The people that voted for Carney, it's going to be dogmatic.
For sure.
Whatever he does, it's going to be for the greater good, and that's what they're going to tell themselves. But at the same time, look at what's happening with Trump in the US. As much as I'd much rather have Trump as my president as Carney than Carney as my PM, I will still say when he's wrong. I will still call Trump's policies when I disagree with them. But you look at the MAGA movement, they won't call out Trump for what he's doing. I got another video of Dan Bongino, what is it? Hold on.
Bongino, Dan Bongino.
Dan Bongino. I actually found a video that shows what he said in the past about Epstein and what he's saying now. And it's like this is dogma at this point. You're playing the game. But
so is he flip-flopping from what he was before he was in the admin, or like flip-flop?
I was looking for that video. I saw it yesterday, so I got like a 1-minute video just to show how idiotic he's become compared to what he was saying just 2 years ago. But this is my point, right? It's not because you voted for Trump that Trump can't do any wrong. You need to call him out. That's your job. You voted for him because he represented more your values. The same thing's true about Carney. If you're one of those that voted for Carney, you should be calling him out for saying that elbows up was not meant as being in a bukkake.
Yeah.
That you were going to get rear-ended the whole way through and you weren't going to stand up to him. That was not what you sold.
Yeah, especially if there has to be some ability for, like, there has to be, like, politicians have to at least try to do the things they're going to say that they say to get elected, right? Otherwise, what is the fucking point? And traditionally, the way to keep them accountable is why their supporters will be like, oh, heck, hold on, that's not what you promised. But nowadays, it seems like, yeah, it's very dogmatic, and no matter what, they're going to support Carney. So the whole idea of political accountability that the system is built on really goes out the window. And just before I play this video, I'll just take a couple of these comments here.
Yep.
Sasquatch says Carney begging Trump to include Canada in the Golden Dome because they refuse to protect themselves. Now I know how Albertans feel about paying the bills for Canada. Can the USA separate? Yeah, I mean, there will be a cost to it. They certainly won't be just let us in for Canada will certainly pay a cost to invest. Whether that will be proportional to what they're actually going to get, I don't know. But as Nick here says, including Canada is probably the only way the U.S. can protect the northern borders.
Yep,
yeah,
100%.
it makes a lot of sense for why America would want Canada to be involved. So in some ways, it kind of the system is working as it's supposed to. You have an issue that benefits both countries, and so you have cooperation. So that's how it's supposed to work, and that you like to see it. But it's like, why did we have to take this very weird and long indirect route to get here? Why couldn't he just have ran on his on?
You know exactly why.
Well, I know. There's a rhetorical
because he couldn't come out with his MAGA hat right off the bat and say, "I have Canada's best interest at heart."
Yeah,
he needed something to fight Poliev on, because if he said he was MAGA from the get-go, the Conservative Party would have become the Liberals, and the Liberal Party would have become the Conservative, which you can't show that to the populace. God forbid we actually really show what they stand for.
Exactly, right. And that's sort of it's kind of stuff that really turns people off of politics, just 100%. that they had to go this way. And honestly, the more I see it, it kind of really seems like they actually do really seem like buddies, right? Like they
100%.
You almost wonder if Trump wasn't involved in this strategy, like him and Carney are shooting the shit during the campaign. Hey, tell them you're against me. Tell them you're against me.
All a coincidence.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see, because remember a couple of weeks ago, was it last week? Trump said that he had an earth-shattering announcement that would be announced in the middle of the week. We never heard about it. I know that it's not that, because he'd be bragging about it. But I'm very curious to see. So we have the Golden Dome that will shower all over North America. Mm-hmm. And now we have the king that's showing up next week to give
Charles, yes, which we will cover live, the throne
100%. But from memory, it has a king or a queen, obviously it was a queen prior, have not given that speech since 1977.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Yeah, 1977, 1951, I think is the two numbers.
Like that sounds right. Yeah.
And now we're fucking looking at building a dome over all of us, and Carney won't stop referring to the king's address. So you're like, okay, hold on here. What the fuck is gonna happen? I think that next Monday is gonna be something. We're gonna be covering it. So join us on Monday as we listen to the king speak.
Yeah, and it's it kind of makes you like, why the fuck are we as Canadians listening to the king of England? However, that is clearly Carney's a monarchist for sure. He's very, and he seems to be eager to drag Canada back closer to the monarchy, which I think personally, I think that's against what most Canadians actually want. But as Therese says here, he's got so many swords in the fire. Carney's going to take himself down with his ego, and that's part I was commenting on. His ego. He's got a huge ego, and I don't think he gives a shit what Canadians want. It's what Carney wants, what Mark wants. Mark's.
I was talking about Mark's Carney, what he wants, and that's exactly what I said. I think it was on Monday when I went on a rant on his book, because I was reading it again this morning, and it's very, very clear why he's so snippy with reporters, why he does not like to be questioned. It is a question of pride. He's so prideful. He's so full of himself that he wants you to believe everything he says because he knows better than you.
Just because
in his head, he's 100%. Better than you. He knows better than you. How dare you fucking question me when I have all the experience in the world? I was at the Bank of England. I was on the WEF board. I was at the head of the Canadian banking system. Believe what I tell you because I know better than you. And how dare you fucking ask me questions? That's pride 101
That's exactly,
right there. He's a fucking little man narcissist.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that and I think Therese might be onto something. He's got to be careful with that, because that is, pride goes before the fall, right? There's a lot of powerful people who've been brought down because they assume they never could be.
But at his height, he doesn't. The fall's not going to be that tall, though. It's just like
Yeah, he won't be hurt too bad. It's not from a great height or anything like that. All right, so let's check.
The investor also said that there haven't been formal talks on the Golden Dome. Should Canada take part in that project, and how much would you be willing to spend on that?
Okay, well, I'm not going to put a price tag on the second part of your question. I think I'll say the following about the situation with air defense or ballistic missile defense, intercontinental ballistic missile defense, broader defense against, including potential missiles that in the not too distant future could come from space. I mean, these are some of the threats that our nation faces. We take those threats seriously. We take our responsibilities as a government seriously, as I just said. It's one of the reasons why we made the commitment back in March for the over-the-horizon radar, the first phase of the over-horizon radar system, and that was an independent decision that we took. We are conscious that we have an ability, if we so choose, to complete the Golden Dome with investments and partnership. And it's something that we are looking at and something that has been discussed at a high level, but I'm not sure one negotiates on this. These are military decisions.
So he's doing what Carney does, and he doesn't answer the fucking question.
And I've got one more clip. He's speaking in French, and he actually sounds like he might answer a little bit better. I'll just play this here quickly, and then we'll just discuss what he's been saying.
I'll confirm that what he's saying is actually true. There's a lot of people that translate as bullshit.
Yeah, they do translate live in English. But
yes.
Sur est-ce que vous pensez que c'est une bonne idée de participer du côté du Canada au Dome
for Canada to be participating in the Golden Dome project? And he seems to have said that Canada has expressed interest in it. In terms of our discussions with the Americans on the Golden Dome, there have been discussions underway for several years now between military officials and security officials of both Canada and the United States. The President and I had a couple of discussions about the concept of the Golden Dome. Is it a good idea for Canada? Well, it's a good idea to have protection for Canadians and Canada in terms of a missile defense system. But the fact is that there are now threats coming from Russia, North Korea, and China. There are real threats against Canada. And we have a choice.
Not talking about closer ties with the EU here, though.
Will we create protection
like
for our cities and our country or not? And if we decide to do that, according to my government, that is necessary. So will it be Canada alone or Canada with the United States?
Canada's not building
Because with the Golden Dome, there will be decisions made that could have an impact on Canada. So there are a number of considerations at play, but these are discussions that are continuing.
Yeah, so it goes on for 3 more minutes. But basically, as you said, the same thing. He's really good. He's mastered the art of saying a lot of words without really saying anything.
But he doesn't sound very good in French. Like, I think that the reason why, when I saw an interview with him on Tout le monde en parle in Montreal, where it was 100% French, this video right there just proves to me it was 100% rehearsed. He knew the answer, because on the ball like that, he's fucking terrible. No, that was terrible. That was just terrible.
Yeah, and I think the thing that kind of, as I'm watching this, it's funny because everything he's saying is everything we all knew about the world, right? The threats coming from China, North Korea, Russia. Yeah, we knew that. That's why you need to have a close relationship with the most powerful nation in the world that's directly below us, right? That's why you don't throw a grenade into our relationship with the United States. That's why you don't hold a press conference the day after you get elected to say our relationship has forever changed, because it hasn't. Yeah, things are changing. We're in tumultuous times, no doubt. However, a lot of things still haven't changed. A lot of things still have stayed the same. And one thing that has not changed is our need or our reliance on the United States for our own security. So to win, just to throw a grenade into our relationship with the most powerful nation in the world, our largest trading partner, just to win an election is just the epitome of short-sighted, narcissistic, political cynicism. And, because this is the right policy. You should be working with America on the Golden Dome, but it really pisses you off, because why did we have to cause major damage to the United States relationship with our major ally in order to get here, just so you personally could get elected?
That just proves to me that was all a game. He knew what he was doing the whole time. He knew that he couldn't go against the US. He wouldn't mess up that relationship. He sold that EU crap in order for the liberals that voted for him to believe that he was diversifying our investments. But at the end of the day, it was all bullshit. He keeps on, every single time something comes up with the US, he just keeps on showing how he is a puppet to the US. He's going to continue doing what he's doing. And to me, it's no surprise. Like, what the fuck else is he supposed to do? But at the same time, that is not what he sold. That is not what he said to the liberals.
That's the
problem. But the liberals are still protecting him. That's the thing that fucking pisses me off.
They don't see anything wrong with it.
Yet, can you imagine if Poliev would have said that? Poliev would have done that. He would have flip-flopped like that. If he got elected, it would have been the end of the world. And because it's Carney, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We're all good. Maybe it's because the young people that voted for him that were under 25 don't have enough attention span to remember what he said. And the boomers that voted for him just don't remember what he said. So, maybe that's what it is.
It's just like so many of his followers, it's like they don't have their own minds, their own opinions at all.
No.
Carney says, fuck America. Like, yeah, fuck America. We don't need them. Carney says, yeah, we love America. They're like, yeah, we love America. They're just, just wherever Carney says, they go.
Yeah. You want to take some messages? You want to take some comments? Because we're going to go right through to what Trump did yesterday, which was a fucking baller move.
Dave B says he cannot be trusted. He is just like Starmer. Starmer's done a pretty big about face on immigration. Now, of course, as you say, do we trust that he believes it? But he's saying all the right things, right? He's saying immigrants who come to the UK, he said it's been a problem. We've let far too many in. People who come to the UK need to speak English. We need to bring in skilled workers. It's really surprising to hear from a liberal politician. But again, as you say, it's Starmer. Can we trust what he's saying?
That's the same twat that's been bragging about putting people in prison for censoring them. So it's the same guy. Like, that guy was bragging. I saw a video of him bragging about how, we got some people in prison right now because they said something offensive on the line. So
and he's also, I saw a speech from him yesterday where he's talking about how much they value free speech, and it's like, do you really though? You've got Lucy Connolly in jail, a mother of two in jail for 3 years for what was it? Ill-advised, but in the heat of the moment tweet that she deleted 2 hours later. Should she be in jail for 2 years? I don't think so.
Sure.
Sasquatch. A lot of big D talk from Carney the last couple months about America. Yet here, America is still protecting Canada. Yeah, like the relationship has changed. Clearly, the relationship has not changed at all. Nor should it be. Nor should it, because the overall security situation in the world has not changed. Like the threats are still the threats. We still rely on America to protect us.
Amen. And Sasquatch, by the way, he probably, the reason he acts like a big dick is because he is one. Has nothing to do with his dick size. It's proportionate to the person. Plus, with the size of his hands, everything's big when you're holding it. Right? So, keep that in mind, Sasquatch.
Sasquatch continues. In March, Carney said retaliatory tariffs stay on till America shows Canada some respect. We told Carney to go fuck himself until he removed retaliatory tariffs off yesterday. And as Nick says here, he actually removed them in mid-April, which makes it
Like the
so
14th.
much worse. It just got reported yesterday, but it was
Yeah.
like April 14th, right? And then we saw like a timeline of speeches he's given on April 18th. He's literally saying we're going to keep these tariffs off. He had taken them off 4 days earlier. So it's hard not to, as sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it gets worse. I was going to pull up his book because I have it downloaded on one of my tabs, but it's funny because this morning I was reading his book again, and he even says in his book that tariffs don't work, that all they do is to get the people that are in your country producing goods and providing services richer. So even in his book, he does not believe in tariffs, and he says that they only serve to enrich the people that are already producing the goods and services, as in it prevents outside sources like products from the US, for example, coming in and competing. All it ends up doing is creating a monopoly. Yet that fucktard was telling us that we need tariffs. And in his book, he doesn't even believe in it. I'm telling you, for the people out there that enjoy reading, and even if you don't enjoy reading, fucking read his book. He is literally full of shit. Everything he's saying is bullshit. I understand why that Vasi girl actually challenged him, as in, which one are we getting? Are we getting the value guy? Or are we getting a guy that's pro-pipeline? Which one?
Yeah,
now that I'm reading it, I understand exactly, because it's because of her. It's because of the way she challenged him. I'm like, what the fuck? If a lefty like her can challenge him, imagine what I would have told him. So...
Well, yeah, and good on her for calling that out, and also for doing the research, reading the book. She was, I thought she was very well researched. Do you remember the conversation about the carbon tax? Because remember he said, "Oh, yeah, it's as you know, it's only a little bit," and she had the number right there. She was like, "It's 9%," and he was like, yes, it's 9%." But she came in there knowing, she came prepared for sure.
I was surprised. I was actually very, very surprised. But good for her.
Yeah. And before you before we jump on to the next topic, guys, if you are new to this show, welcome. Hopefully you stick around. As you can see, the show is built on audience engagement and comments. So make sure you throw a comment in the comment box. If you're on X, remember to like or share the show. But you really want to be on YouTube because that's where all the action happens. You will be able to join in the conversations, even the comments that we don't bring up onto the screen. If you like what we do here, if you think there's a need for this show, please, the best way to support us is by becoming a member. That's part of our coffee scheme, where you can, for the low price of $2.99 a month, you can support a young, budding space in the political Discord world where we don't really yell at each other. We don't scream at each other. We don't call each other Nazis, bigots, full of hate, even if we disagree with each other. I know it's wild, right? We try to find common ground, and we try to, we show our work. We talk about why we believe what we do. And if we can't, sometimes we can find that common ground. Sometimes we can't, but whatever we do it respectfully. And if that's the kind of place that you think there needs to be more of, please support us by buying us a coffee. Or you can either hit us with the bribery scheme, which is the super chat feature. If you want to tip us, I guess you could call it tipping. It's a little nicer. But yeah, yeah, you can stuff dollar bills down our G strings. We will always appreciate that as well. But
by the way, guys, if you do join, the $2.99 a month gives you access to our members only Discord. That's right. Which we carry on this conversation. Like, it's great to have this conversation for 2.5 hours a day, but in the Discord, it's 24 hours a day. And the guy that runs it's a conspiracy theorist, and he doesn't censor anything. He's super cool. Maybe you heard of him, me, but yeah. So the whole point is to carry that conversation. And if you stick around, you'll see that we do share a lot of the content that is being shared in the discussion.
Yeah, a lot of the topics we talk about come from there.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys will get a spot. Yeah, as Misfit. Yeah, just the tip, right? Hey, now you're not pulling that one over on me. I invented just the tip, not literally, of course, but like many
just
men,
the tip and pulling out.
Like many young men, I have taken. I have
gonorrhea.
No, not anymore. That's got cured.
Exactly. No, not anymore. There's pills for that.
Yeah, there is pills for that.
Joe Stradamus, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I get the feeling Nico is not fond of Mark Carney. First and foremost, he is no longer called Mark Carney on this show. It is Mark's Carney. But in the first 60 pages of his book, I think he's made reference to Karl Marx 4 or 5 times already. Like, it's insane. Oh,
in what context?
As in, he was a brilliant economist. A guy that was a fucking alcoholic, poor as shit, that only survived on rich people giving him money. He beat his wife. He beat his children. Like, he has an awful, awful track record if you start looking and digging into the life of Karl Marx. But he's basically speaking about Karl Marx like he knew about economy. Like, he's saying that Karl Marx has evolved the theories of Adam Smith, one of the greatest, most recognized economists in history, that Karl Marx made his theories better. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, you. But yeah, so that is why he is called Mark's Carney. I like that nickname. It was great.
Yeah, it's a good one. Bumpy says, what are Nico and Rob's views on Chris Barber, Tamara Lynch, and the Coots for? Did either of you guys go to the convoy protest? Nico did. I did not.
What's that? Chris Barber. Yeah, Tamara Lynch. Yeah.
Are they all connected? Like, because I know the Coots for.
So the Coots were about the border of Alberta and the U.S. that got shut down by the truckers.
Yeah.
And
they were
what happened?
Railroaded.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the part of Chris Barber and Tamara Lynch, there are the two main figures, at least the most recognized figures, in the trucker convoy protest that happened in Ottawa. And they literally they were just in court once again about 3 weeks ago, within the last month. I can't remember exactly, but it was within the last month, and they were found guilty. We don't know yet. They haven't had the sentencing up to now, but just so you guys know, I've met. I'd have to go back. All I know is that they're the two main faces of the Freedom Trucker movement, and I have connections to them. So eventually we will have them on the show. We'll be able to record some content with them. It might have to be exclusive for the Discord server, because we might get in trouble posting stuff about them. But yeah, no, I know who they are. And hopefully I get there you go. Bumpy Johnson, exactly. Karl Marx and Jacques Rousseau were both horrid family men, and he has quoted Jacques Rousseau up to now. So yes, fucking Mark's Carney is a Marxist. There was one that I wanted to take.
Marx's work on the pamphlet financed by his loser friend Engels. Engels was against capitalism, but also born into wealth, and that that's the same trend we see.
It's always the way it is.
How many people that are like far left woke idiots that are actually the people railing against privilege are the most privileged people ever, right? It's just all that nonsense is just for bored, rich white people who desperately want to be able to pretend that they're also oppressed, because they spent the last 20, 30 years fetishizing oppression, fetishizing, the vulnerable minorities, and they'd love to be one.
Yep, agreed. There was a comment here I wanted to talk about. Oh, there you go. That's interesting. PB and AB, Nico's tweet about China has made his way over to Telegram. I thought about this last week. I started creating posts on Instagram that says China, welcome to China, and then I just list a bunch of really stupid shit that Canada stands for. So it's a new model that I've created last week, and now the Canadian flag is reversed, just like our logo. And yeah, which one? Because I have a few that I posted, but there's one about Canada Post that's actually going viral on my Instagram right now, where I'm just pretty much what we talked about on, I think, Tuesday. I repeated it. It's just that I wrote it down in a text format. It tends to do super well on Instagram. So, but you know what? Screw this. I was going to talk about. I wanted to talk about what Trump did to the South African president. But how about we? Oh, bro, what a baller move. That guy don't give a fuck. He's just, hey, bro, you see that video?
Watch this video.
As he's calling him out, as the guy is just like, what the fuck am I watching at? But let's go to actually Canada Post, since you guys brought it up, because there's some updates. from the Canada Post strike, it seems that it was reported that Canada Post rejected the 13% proposal increase on their salary and will go on strike tomorrow. So, fucking government workers.
Yeah.
I found a couple of videos. So there's three things I wanted to talk about when it comes to Canada Post. Like, I will show you a video that was released by CP24, one of our many leftist leaning media in Canada, that talks about what's going on and starts naming some numbers. Then I'll show you the proposal and what they had to say about it. And then I found an article from Global News that actually shows how much money they've been losing and how much money the government had to inject. Because remember, they're a crown corporation. They're not a government entity. A crown corporation is supposed to be a corporation that is owned by the government, but that is ran like a private company. Yet they keep on having to give them money, just like they do with VRL. Remember, we learned about this week, how they've been literally sustaining VRL for years, because since 2017, I think it was the number. So it looks like all our fucking institutions in Canada are failing, and if it wasn't for taxpayers' money, they wouldn't exist. Like, it's literally, we are the ones keeping those guys afloat, and they keep on asking for more money. So I got a few videos. We'll just, they're actually entertaining, because I love to see leftists learn about something. Like, it's fucking surprising when it's literally available online. You can literally just go check. It's public information.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a video from CP24 where they're talking about Canada Post Canada. Said it again, Canada Post going on strike. My Frenchy accent is showing. But what's interesting is that they just came. They just came back from strike, and they talk about it in there, which is fucking hilarious. But listen to this.
Yeah, are you feeling it? A sense of deja vu? We experienced the 32-day strike during the holiday season. That came to an end in December. But the latest, I'm told, from the Canadian Union of Postal Workers is that Canada Post put a pause on negotiations, but they did say they will come back to the bargaining table. Meanwhile, Canada Post has received a strike notice from the union, which represents 55,000 postal workers. Operations are set to shut down by the end of this week. So employees plan to hit the picket lines on Friday morning at midnight. Here's more from the president of Toronto Local Canadian Union of Postal Workers.
We need a collective agreement. We got to keep the postal system going. Canada Post has sent emails. Banks have been sending emails saying there are possible labor disruption. Canada Post is killing its own business. It's mismanaged Canada Post for the last couple of years and has billions in losses that they claim, but they've caused these losses. We're the middle class. We want to be able to feed our families, to pay our rent, and we want stable jobs, good jobs for future Canadians, the future young Canadians.
Okay, we know millions of people are affected by this. Coast to coast, roughly 2 billion letters, 300 million parcels are delivered across Canada. The president and CEO of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business did say that the last strike cost small business owners $1 billion. Now, in the meantime, no new items are going to be accepted into Canada Post. They will be secured, some of the items that they have, but just not delivered. There are two exceptions to this, though: social assistant checks and live animals. Canada Post says if this disruption happens, it would make their financial situation even worse than it already is. Back in 2023, it had an $845 million operating loss. Now, on Friday, there was a report that
more than $800 million operation lost.
Well,
and they still want to go on strike,
who do you think
which could cost them $1 billion. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah. It's this is just being pigs feeding greedy at the trough. There's no need for it. The only reason they do it is because they know that they'll probably get it, because there's no way any business, any private business would ever be able to agree to those terms when they're showing that kind of a loss, because clearly the business model is not sustainable. But they know that they've got the government of Canada backing them, and someone just needs to say no and fucking can them. Like, we're not talking about nuclear physicists here. We're talking about mail carriers. Literally anybody can do it. Walking around, All you have to do is be able to lift 10 kilograms. It's not a difficult job description. You're not in a position to be demanding, 30 to 40% above the median income. You're just not. You're a fucking mail carrier.
And this is what's funny, right? They're saying that it has such a big damage on their business, that it costs $1 billion to small businesses, that it's going to cost them a shit ton of money. Yet, if you read right here, Canada Post and its new offer include a wage increase of 6% in year 1 for current employees, 3% in year 2, and 2% in year 3 and year 4, respectively, or 13.59% compounded interest. The offer also provides employees with better income replacement for leave under the short-term disability program and 6 added personal days locked into the collective agreement. So once again, 13% increase over the next 4 years, more sick days off, and more short-term disability, because God knows that walking all those very heavy letters will cause a lot of short-term disability. Like, are you fucking kidding me here?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Well, and like I said, they ask because they know they're going to get it. And I will be, they just need to say, no, get fucked. We'll hire new people. We'll hire new people to walk around the neighborhood on a sunny day, or I guess a rainy day too, because that's the whole thing. They got to go anytime. But if that's the biggest downside to your job, sometimes you have to walk through bad weather. That's really not that bad. It really is not. And there's no reason why, I guarantee you, will not be hard to find people to do those jobs for the wages that they're already being paid.
No, 100%. And, I spend a lot of my time in the US, and you should see the USPS over there, like the United States Postal Service, 10 times better than ours. They fucking work on Saturday. They work on Sundays. The guys are super nice too. Like, they come right to your house. Like, the service is so much fucking better in the US. And I'm talking Alabama, the fattest fucking, the fattest place in the US. They're not complaining. They just do their fucking jobs, and that's what they're paid to do. But here is what I found to be extremely, extremely interesting, because if you hear some of the people at Canada Post, they're denying the fact that they're losing a shit ton of money, like a shit ton. They're bleeding money. And it's saying that it's in most recent financial report, Canada Post recorded a loss before tax of $748 million, a 26% increase from the $548 million lost in 2022. So they are literally 1.4 almost billion dollars in the hole from 2022 and 2023 alone. That's not the report from last year, because it's probably even fucking worse. And those finances have been a key point the corporation has made throughout negotiation, with the company noting in its press release about receiving the strike notice that it has recorded more than $3 billion in losses before tax since 2018, and expect another significant loss in 2024. $748 million in 2023, which is 26% more than 548. Quick fucking math, 25% a quarter, you're looking at about 160 million more. So you're probably looking at more than $900 million loss if they continue on the same track from 2020.
But yeah, pay them 18% more. Give them a 15%.
But please give them 13.4% increase on top of more sick days, on top of better disability. Like, how the fuck is disability such a problem that you need? That's part of your new offer. It has to be a problem. People have to be complaining if that's even brought up. Like,
yeah,
what is going on here?
Yeah. It's just greed all around. And they should say no to it. They should say no. And if they won't come back to work, fire them. I don't know what the rules are, but fire them, get new people in, and train them.
Like we were saying before, like, you can argue until you're blue in the face if do we need them or do we don't need them. Let's cite that for the time being, and let's just ask a simple question. Can we look at how much it would cost for the private sector to do it? Can we have an open discussion as to how much does it actually cost the private sector to do it? Compare it to what we're seeing from Canada Post, and let's figure out what the fuck is the problem. Because do we need this or not? We should look into it. We should have that discussion. Can the private sector do it better? Who knows? Let's see. But let's be honest for a second. When is the last time you heard a government department or a government as a whole doing a better job at managing money than a private company? This much.
Well,
that's
this
how many
shows
times.
why not.
Never
right?
happens.
They don't have private companies have to be disciplined or they will go under. Well, a crown corporation can't go under, and so there's no need for it to be disciplined. And once, there's a famous saying. I think it might be Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's investment partner, but it's something like, "You show me some incentive, or show me the incentives, and I'll tell you what's going to happen," kind of thing. There's no incentive for crown corporations to be disciplined with their money the way that there are strong incentives for a private company to do so, and that's why it doesn't work.
And I can confirm that myself, because as a sales engineer, I used to sell services to provincial government, federal governments, and municipal government. And do you know how many times I've had the head of departments tell us, come back in about February at the end of our budget, at the end of our fiscal year, and we will take your services there, because we'll probably have some money to spend that's going to be left over from our budget. And if we don't spend it, that means that next year's budget is going to be cut off. We're gonna have a decrease in our budget.
Yeah, so
this is what happens when.
But
it's not your money.
Yeah,
the government doesn't generate money; they fucking tax people. And Sasquatch had a comment about that. Instead of, let me try if I can find it here, but he was basically right here. The postal workers need a raise if the government. Oh, the postal worker wouldn't need a raise if the government wasn't taking 53% of the income in taxes. And this is exactly my point. But you see the irony here: the more money they want, the more people are taxed, because we need to pay for their salaries. So instead of having a more efficient business model, we just are going to tax us more for a service I'm not even sure we still need. We should
100%.
have the discussion.
Yep, 100%. Yes. See if we can take a couple of these comments here. Yeah, I mean, Bumpy's Canada Post is running woo woo. Yeah, like a lot of these crown corporations are, right? They don't need to follow woo woo. Just fucking hopes and prayers, thoughts and prayers, hopes and dreams, magical thinking, because they don't need to. They're not subject to the same market forces that all private companies are. They don't. They can fail, and they'll fail upwards because they've got the backstop of the federal government, and of course they can print as much money as they want. They will never run out of it. The value of it might change, but they will have as much. They'll always have it. Yeah, and as Nick said, we still have door-to-door delivery every day. It's just flyers and advertising. Yeah, I don't think I'm not going to personally miss it. I know some people will, and for those people, that sucks. But it's clearly just not a well-run corporation. The reason why they're having all these losses is because they've agreed to all these outrageous demands in the past just to get the strike over. But eventually that adds up, and what ends up happening is what you see now. $800 million losses every year, $900 million losses every year. That's not sustainable.
It's sustainable as much as we keep on paying for it.
Well, yeah.
But who cares, right? It's just the taxpayers' money, right?
Yes, exactly, right. Misfit, private sector would do it cheaper, more efficient, without subsidies. Correct. They absolutely would. Wise guy. Amazon.
Just the USPS, which as far as I know is a government entity as well. You know what? Before I talk out of my ass, take that comment. I'm going to go check.
Wise guy says Amazon proves its superiority in parcel service or parcel delivery every day. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Bezos, like him or hate him, he's definitely a genius as far as business goes, and he's created a very tight ship over there, and they are extremely efficient, and that's why they're what they are right now. Sasquatch, I hate shipping to Canada. I have to pay a lot of made-up taxes that Canada forces me to pay. Yep, there's no doubt we are.
You might need to get the
heavily taxed. Yeah,
you might need to prove that.
Gotta get vax if you want to send a package here, because if you touch what's inside, it might spread. It's obviously
the logic there. we don't want any of your freedom spreading through Canada. Keep your ideologies to the south.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Idiots.
Yeah, well.
Fuck's
So it
sake.
looks like the expense report. I got to check because it seems like USPS, as I thought, is owned by the government, but it is an independent agency of the federal government. So I'm just curious to see if it is ran better than Canada Post.
Well, see if they're running a profit or if they have a loss.
Yeah.
Where was this? Sasquatch says, and this is about our previous discussion. Rob, like I tell the liberals in the U.S., only a racist talks about race. Not knocking Rob, he knows how that comment cuts most liberals. Yeah, no, I mean I agree with you. I think one of my main critiques of the modern state of the political left is this obsession with identity politics, and the way that all the any lefty these days, it seems like they're incapable of viewing anything in the world unless it's through the lens of race or sex or gender or any number of these superficial identities that don't actually mean anything, right? The basically that's essentially what identity politics is, and I believe that this constant focus on race actually just helps perpetuate racism. Constant focus on,
of course, it does.
Sex
That's
or
the
gender just perpetuates sexism and misogyny and whatever, all the things that the left is supposed to be against. Because how can it not? It just creates racial division. I can't believe that they thought, well, if we just start being racist against white guys, which is perfectly fine, that will solve all of the race issues. And in fact, the reality is it will just, of course, breed racial resentment.
It's called racism.
Social division. Yeah, it's racism. There's no good racism and bad racism, and it's okay if it's the good racism. You cannot stop discrimination based on race by discriminating against people based on race just because they're the group, they belong to the group, that it's okay to do so. So I mean, it's just, there's so much sort of moral rot within leftist thinking these days, and I do believe that stuff can be separated from classical liberal values, and that is why I still consider myself a liberal, but it requires people on the left like myself to start speaking up about it, and that's sort of what I'm doing here.
So the USPS, how profitable is the USPS? As per a February 7th 2025 report, USPS has turned a net profit of nearly $1 billion in the most recent fiscal quarter, when excluded expenses postal management deemed outside of its control, compared to $472 million in the same period last year. Revenue jumped by 4% to $22.5 billion, while the agency slashed $326 million in transportation expenses. So what the fuck is Canada doing? How about we learn from what the US is doing, copy their model, and do it here? Because I can tell you, man, you get mail on Saturday and on Sunday in the US. Never had a problem. Their mailing system is so much better than ours, and yet they're able to turn a profit. Even if they were kif, like no profit whatsoever, but there's no loss. Awesome.
Yeah. And I suspect if you want to, what are they doing differently? I bet you if you Googled or looked up what the average salary is for the USPS worker, it will probably be more or less around the median average for Americans. It won't be 20 or 30% above the median, and that's probably where all of the issues lie.
As per Indeed, Job Bank, and ZipRecruiter, it looks like USPS average salary seems $22.18 in New Jersey
per hour.
But that's American, so you're probably looking $29 American, give or take. So you're pretty fucking close. It's about the same salary. I think it turned out to be about $32, if I remember correctly, for Canada Post. So seems like you're not that far off.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it says right here, the average annual salary for a postal worker is around $51,700 USD. Actually, that means it's higher than Canadians.
Well, no, but you have to compare it to the average American salary. because
No, but all I'm saying is that the salary dollar for dollar seems to be more expensive. Like they seem to be either very close or a slightly above what the Canadians are getting. So it's not, what I'm saying is that it's not a problem of salary. It's literally it seems like the solution is efficiency, not necessarily a salary that they're paying their workers.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is, I Googled here, average salary in the U.S. is $66,000. So they're actually paying the average USPS worker below the national average, whereas we are paying our postal workers 20 to 30% above our national average. So,
which makes sense if you ask me, because as we said many times, it is not a skilled labor.
Exactly.
It's like,
right.
You can literally, can you walk for a couple hours a day? Yes. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Although Sasquatch says my best friend in the U.S. is a postal worker and his salary is $85K, but his retirement and benefits package is unmatched. Is he like a senior? Is he just a dude walking the route, or is he like a senior executive? Is he a senior manager position, or has he been there for 20 years and he's just getting small increases in salary every year?
Right here, so the average salary as per payscale.com in the US, the average salary for a postal service representative varies from 44,170 to 95,600.
That's a pretty big variance.
Yeah, but 95,000, it's still way above their national average. So at the same time, let's say that they did pretty much the same amount of money as Canadians, which seems that they are. It really seems that it is it's an efficiency problem that they're having, because if indeed they have really good benefits, this is not calculated in this. And the numbers that I shared this week that were between around $70,000, they had their benefits in it. So basically, they probably, if they're anything like Canadians, they probably get another 10, 15 grand, the equivalent of 10, 15 grand more in benefit every year, between the pension, between the healthcare, between dental and all that stuff. So it's not a bad salary. They are at least the average of the national salary. And that makes sense to me. The average makes sense to me, but they're not skilled labor. Always remember that, right?
100%. And they you can't, they're demanding to be paid like it, and that's
they're not.
I was gonna say that's not gonna fly. It might actually fly up here in Canada, but it shouldn't fly.
Agreed.
Joe Sardamas, just back to the discussion about identity politics. It distracts us from the class war we've been losing our entire lives. Yeah, I think I agree with that, Joe. I think a lot of the identity politics are, again, designed just to keep us peasants fighting against each other, while the rich elites just continue to pick our pockets.
See, Sasquatch is saying that he's been a mail carrier forever. So he's making a really good salary just being a mail carrier. And he's saying that also that's true. Huh? There's no more tax on tips and overtime. And that is something that is something that I forgot to mention the other day. There is a high percentage of postal workers that do overtime. So imagine they're not getting taxed in the US on top of that. So
yeah, of course.
It's not a salary problem. Obviously, it's not a salary thing. It's really, they're more efficient than we are in Canada. So maybe we should send Mark's elbows up Carney to the US and try to figure out what the fuck are they doing that we're not doing.
Yeah. Sasquatch says, Rob, the far left mainstream media finally found refugees they don't like, white farmers. That's actually a great segue to, I think, our next topic.
Thank you very much for that really nice pass right down the middle, and I'm running alone towards the infield.
Yeah, and because that's really funny, because that's exactly what it is, right? Like, they love refugees, love them until they're white people, and then it's, oh, we don't want them here. They're not really facing oppression, and kind of like as the clip we're going to show here, what the president of South Africa,
his face is awesome. Like,
president was here in the Oval Office, and Donald Trump called him out about the oppression or the attacks on white farmers, and of course the South African president denied that this was happening. Donald Trump says, "Oh, really?" Why don't you look over at that?
He's such a jackass. I love it. I love when he does that. He's just like, oh, by the way, you should watch this, and completely ignores him and talks over the video to show, yeah, this is happening in this country.
Joe,
right
what
here.
do you mean? Do you mean on this issue, on the South African farmers? I'd be curious to see to hear your
interesting, because I haven't given my take yet.
Well, I'm sure he knows what our take is, or at least like my take.
Oh, you know what happens when you assume, eh?
Yeah, yeah, but okay. Well, my take is that there should be, if you've got a member of the African National Congress, and I do have a clip of that, leading an entire fucking stadium of 50,000 people to chants of kill the Boer, kill the farmer. Maybe it's not a genocide yet, but that's getting, there wasn't a genocide in 1933 in Germany either. It took a little bit of dehumanizing. Like, you're definitely on the path there. And I don't see that as it shouldn't be controversial at all. I don't see, South white, especially when the history, like, this has happened out in is it Zimbabwe? It used to be Rhodesia, but that's exactly what they did, right? It's wrapped up in communist land reforms, but the part of the reforms is you kill the farmers, and then I'm pretty sure it is Zimbabwe, but the that's essentially what happened. Robert Mugabe became president, I don't know, in the 80s or something, and they essentially killed a whole lot of white farmers, took their land, and then found out, oh shit, we don't actually know how to grow anything, because industrialized farming is not easy. It's not just a matter of putting a seed in the ground. And Zimbabwe, which used to be the breadbasket of Africa, became a barren wasteland. And so that's the backdrop. That's the context. And then when you see it starting to happen again in a neighboring country, it's not crazy to say, okay, maybe there's something going on here. Or maybe we should be a little proactive here. I don't see that as controversial.
I'll just take this one before I show the video. As I said before on here, are you starting to think that maybe it's a work ethic problem than a pay problem? I think it's a lot of the above, but there's no way for us to know until we have a Doge department run into that fucking crowd corporation and start looking at what the fuck is going on. Because if USPS is capable of doing it in the US and run a profit, why the fuck are we not able to do it in Canada? Because they're one of the mailing services, but they have the same thing as USPS. They have their DHLs. They have the other companies that are running mail in the US, and they're run by the government. So clearly something is going on. Now, where is it? Where's the actual problem? There's no way for us to know until we have that discussion and they open their books and we have a comparison with USPS, for example, in the US, or against a private company. Mm-hmm. So this has to be, man, this is such a baller move. Somebody needs to do the animation, the old animation where the glasses show up at the end when somebody did a super boss move. Do you remember those animations? Yeah. Just a video. It's like, oh, and it's just the glasses, just the shades go in.
Yeah. Wise Guy says, which issues are they wrong with Sask? Wise Guy, I'm pretty sure that was Joe. Joe Sajamas that said that. And I think it was Joe. And he clarifies here, there's huge anti-immigration sentiment in this country. Oh, yeah. No, we were referring to the left, just on the left. Because as Sasquatch was saying, the left finally found, a group of refugees or immigrants that they don't like. And of course, the requirement was that they be white. That's a requirement to not like them.
Surprising.
Yes.
Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
That awkward smile. He knows what's coming.
People are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are.
Can you turn that up a little bit? Or are you on max?
No, it's on X.
It's all right.
Never be scared to kill.
These are politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Kill the Boer, the farmer. Packed stadium, 50,000 people.
Yep. So we've all seen, because it goes on for like 4.5 minutes, right? We've all seen this video. Like everybody on here is savvy as shit, so we know. But this is not what I found was interesting. Is what's coming next that was fucking funny, because obviously CNN is spinning this. So I got a video from CNN. A black reporter from CNN is trying to spin this as in, oh no, that's not what he meant.
It's not true. Yeah, it's not
And
true.
then somebody did a compilations of all the left talking and saying the same fucking thing. Remember, like a la COVID, when brought to you by Pfizer, like similar to this. So just how the fuck do they even think that is credible for them to try to spin this when clearly they're full of shit? So listen to this.
Explaining that this is not true. What the videos show is Julius Malema, the far left opposition leader of South Africa. His party is called the Economic Freedom Fighters, and it also showed former President Jacob Zuma. What Julius Malema was singing, "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer," was an anti-apartheid song from the struggle against white minority rule in South Africa. They've explained that this is not a literal attack, call to attack and kill the farmer, because of the historical nature of that. But it's been weaponized by groups in South Africa and increasingly by the MAGA right in the United States to essentially misrepresent what is going on in the country, Boris, Brianna.
Bullshit.
So basically what he's saying is that it's not really what it meant. Come on.
Not really kill the Boer, kill the farmer.
No,
okay,
no,
well, it
like,
is, but it's an apartheid chant. Okay, are you under apartheid now? No, then why are you chanting it?
Because they can.
Yes, because I mean, when someone says they're going to murder people, I think you have to take them at face value. When they say kill the Boer, kill the farmer, is it possible that chant started during apartheid? Sure, but apartheid collapsed in early 90s. That is not what's going on. And then when you pair that with the fact that there is a large percentage of murders I think it's like it's a large. I'll see if I can get the numbers here, but it's a large number relative to how many actual white farmers there are. Like the murder rate is quite high among white farmers, and you also have the white farmers themselves are saying no, we're being targeted. They're coming to kill us. What more do you want? Like, this is, of course, if it were anyone else except for white farmers, they would be the left would be all over it, right? They would be protecting them and all this. But of course, as Sasquatch said, finally the left found refugees and immigrants that they don't like. And of course, it's white people.
Listen to this one. So this is Patrick Bet-David's podcast that shared that yesterday, but it's basically, they got their script again. Wild how every outlet magically landed on the word ambush at the same time.
Scene in the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
Up next, another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
What started as, to some degree, an ambush. Well, Katie, I mean, it was an ambush.
Ambush.
Ambushed.
Ambush.
An ambush.
Ambushing.
Ambushed inside the Oval Office.
And the black guy that was talking again was the same guy earlier
one.
That was saying, "Oh no, that's not what they were saying.
That's not what he meant. No, don't be silly.
No, they meant dancing. Dance with the farmer. Dance with the
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
fuck
That's
off.
what he meant. The
They
Boer.
really-
Dance with
they
the
just-
Boer.
Like, they just take us for fucking idiots.
Yeah, they really
Like,
do.
at this point, the people that believe this shit, like, what are you smoke? They're probably the same people that voted for Carney and now that believe that he's standing up to Trump.
Well, and it's an a change in 2020.
Your microphone's messing up, bro.
Is that better?
We'll see. Keep on talking.
Yeah, if it's an apartheid era chant, why are you chanting it now? Why are 50,000 people going down to a stadium in order to chant an apartheid era chant if it has no meaning or relevance anymore?
That is, course, you know what, Rob? Look within yourself.
Look within yourself. That's right. and it's funny when they talk about the ambush. Yeah, I agree. That was an ambush, but it was an ambush that should have happened. That was appropriate for it to happen.
It's one of those things that people are going to start being more careful when they show up to the White House. Zelensky learned it, but yet he ended up signing the mineral deal.
Yeah.
Now he's not sucking up to the US anymore. He's sucking up to Canada. But, maybe there's something to be said about calling people out. It's interesting how that works.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, just because it's an ambush doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like, I sometimes ambushes are entirely appropriate, and I think that's one of them.
There was do you know a woman called Casey J? She did. Have you ever seen the documentary, The Red Pill?
Maybe.
Great documentary.
What's it about?
Oh, it's about the men's movement. So basically, it was a feminist that made a movie. Okay. She was investigating the what's the term?
The manosphere or the men's rights movement.
Yes, it was right at the men's right movement. Exactly.
Okay.
And she changed her tune over she films herself every night after she talks with the representative of the men's movement, and she's just like, damn, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And she's a self-proclaimed feminist. By the end of the movie, she's just like, yeah, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to think in now? So she, if I remember correctly, years ago, she made a video about what's going on in Africa. I'm just trying to find it right now. So with the white farmers,
interesting.
She made a video about that. Like, I've heard about that for the first time almost like 7 years ago.
Huh.
And it was from one of her videos, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to try to find it.
Yeah, try to find it. Tony G says, I'd be happy to host some skilled foreign labor instead of welfare cases. Yeah, that's exactly that's my take too. I personally don't give a shit about your skin color. I don't care what race you are. I care that you share the values that we share in the West so that you will fit in here. I care that you want to become part of society and not just form, covens or like small societies within societies where you're separate from our society. And I care that you're going to contribute, that you bring something to the table. You're skilled, you're educated, something like that. Give me 100, give me a million Chinese doctors, Indian engineers, or whatever, over 1 million poor welfare white people with no education, no skills. I don't give a shit. I just want people who are going to contribute to society. But they'll say, the left will like demand that we bring in every single unskilled, uneducated criminal that knocks on the door. And then when you say, no, maybe we don't have him. Oh, you're racist just because he's fucking Latino or he's Asian or he's Indian or he's black. No, it's not because he's a different skin color, you fucking idiot. It's because he's a criminal. It's because he has no skills. He has no education. He doesn't contribute anything. That's the problem.
You're so racist. I can't find the documentary. I'll have to look into it because I remember it to be quite revealing, but it's something that I've known about for years. But I think you might be right. It's not in South Africa, but it's probably what was going on in Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
that's probably
right next door, right? And that's already happened. That was a genocide, and everybody knows about it. So when you see the exact same thing starting to happen, yeah, okay, I agree. I don't think it's a full genocide yet, but you can see it like. What happened before there was the Holocaust? Well, there was, demonization of the out group. Sure. There was laws passed by the government that hurt the out group, and there was no punishments for people in the in group who hurt the out group. All of those things are currently present in South Africa against farmers. Maybe it's not an official genocide yet, but if you see all the prerequisites starting to happen, maybe it's okay to start speaking out against it, especially considering right next door it's already fucking happened. Yeah, I'm done.
It's just at this point, like there's not much to add to that.
Yeah. That's a rant over. But yeah, now I'll take see if there's a couple Sasquatch says, I have a feeling South Africa isn't getting a dime, but they might get the Marines. They
need some freedom over there.
Yeah, exactly right. They've been murdering white farmers for a decade now. Finally, the Donald brings it up. Yeah, I mean, and if it were any group, I would be opposed to it too. And some people say, like, would Donald Trump care if they weren't white? Well, you know what the answer to that is? Probably not. He probably wouldn't. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong. A genocide is genocide, or even a potential genocide, and their skin color doesn't matter. Would Donald Trump care if they weren't white? Yeah, probably not as much. But all the non-white people, they've got everyone else in their corner right now in the West, right? There's at least like they've got people speaking for them on the left. No one who else is speaking for the South African farmers.
That's a good question. It doesn't seem like a lot of people. Maybe the Donald is. I that is so funny to call him the Donald.
The Donald.
The Donald. Here is you are no libtard. Oh shit! I didn't see
on this issue. You're no libtard.
You know, I completely read over the no.
Yeah. Oh, you are a libtard.
I was like, yeah, actually, he's not that bad.
Yeah, he's got it.
So
all right.
Here's something I saw this morning on the Epoch Times. And again, once again, if you're watching this, we are waiting for not a subscription, but we want to be sponsored by you guys. We talk about your stuff every day almost. At least I bring them up. I love what they do. The Epoch Times is awesome.
Yeah.
So there's an article on the Epoch Times that says that trucker acquitted of charges obtained for Freedom Convoy involvement. So we were talking, it's funny, earlier they were talking about Barber and Litch. So funny enough, we're on the same page today. But a guy by the name of Harold Junker was a road captain during the 2022 protest against the whoop whoop mandates in Ottawa and stayed in the city for 3 weeks. 15 months after the protest ended in May 2023, Junker was charged with mischief, counseling mischief, intimidation, and counseling intimidation. And if I remember correctly, that's what Tamara Litch and Chris Barber were accused of. I'm pretty sure it was mischief that they were accused. So it seems that on May 20th, 2025, Ontario Superior Court Justice Kevin Phillips found the Crown failed to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt and acquitted Junker for all charges. We are very thankful for the excellent legal support provided by the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom and thankful that the judge saw through the Crown's weak case and had the courage to do the right thing, Junker said in a statement following the verdict. I was just happy when I saw that. We don't need to make a big to make it long, but I was just happy to see this, and hopefully Tamara Litch and Chris Barber can overturn their latest, because they were found guilty, I'm pretty sure, of mischief as well. I'm pretty sure it was the same thing.
Yeah, that sounds to me like the kind of thing that they just charge you with. That can apply to anything, right? Like
to shut you up.
Anything. Yeah. Miss it. Like, what does that even mean? Yeah, exactly. They can charge you with whatever. If they just say, oh, you made some things uncomfortable, you honked your horn a few times, or you like what is that? As
it's unacceptable for truckers to do that, but to have the Free Palestine movement do it
shut down cities,
shut everything down, be covered by police,
praying, shutting down Bloor Street. That's not mischief at all. That is
no problem. That's religious rights.
That's religious.
And you know what? I was at the trucker freedom rally. I was there. I recorded some of it too. And you know what was beautiful about it is that you had white people, black people, Native people, Indian people. You have people from all skin colors, all provenance from Canada. A lot of immigrants that were just there in celebration, saying that these lockdowns need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it was. There was families. There were kids. I gave a bunch of free hugs. It was just, actually, it was a cool event. It was almost like a massive party. And yet, that's a problem. But do not speak against Free Palestine, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
And yes, I was right. So Chris Barber and Tamara Litch, who have been found guilty of mischief. So that is what they were accused of a month ago. They're waiting for sentencing. So let's see what happens. But it seems that mischief is indeed a term that you can throw. Mischief. I'm gonna check what the actual definition of mischief is in Canada, because it does sound like one of those grab all, like you can throw this at everybody. Legal definition. So what does it mean? Mischief. In legal term, mischief is a criminal offense involving the willful destruction, damage, or interference with property, computer data, or the lawful use of property, as defined in the Criminal Code of Canada. This include physical damaging property, making it dangerous, or interfering with someone's right to use or enjoy property. I dare you to find a video of a trucker or somebody that was there that assaulted other people. Yet I can find you videos upon videos upon videos of Free Palestine movement protesters assaulting people, smacking their phones out of the way, walking towards them in a threatening manner, and yet that happens basically every fucking weekend. Explain that one to me. Let's be honest here. It's fucking bullshit. We all know it. Yet,
100%.
At least that guy was acquitted. Hopefully that helps Tamara Litch and Chris Barber with their case. Maybe they get to appeal it. There's at least now there is a what's the legal term to say? A precedent. So you have a precedent that maybe they can copy, hopefully. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see, take a few comments here. Misfit says, heaven forbid you sit there peacefully drinking coffee and eating donuts, protesting government overreach. Yeah, and I mean, of course, that is mischief. That's criminal mischief. But should you shut down traffic to pray, despite there being plenty of mosques to pray? That's perfectly fine, and you will get police protection and escort.
Oh yeah, free escort too.
Yeah,
they don't pay for it, obviously,
and they will arrest you for mischief if you have anything to say about it or hate crime. Nick says, I can't believe the time and money they're spent on this. The Jordan law apparently only applies to murders and rapists. What is the Jordan law? Nick, if you wanted to clarify that.
Jordan, I love smart people.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about you, obviously. I'm talking about our commenters.
Yeah, no, our audience is great. Sasquatch says, at Rob, look up the mentally handicapped homeless black woman squatting in Trump Towers. Heal her to stay free. 3 meals a day, flowers every week. I don't think Trump is racist. I don't think he cares about that kind of stuff. I just think the fact that like, you know, the left is basically, you know, the left's well taken care of any refugees or people, you know, of color. I think that's just why he wouldn't even, you know, I think he was just saying, well, there's no one talking about, you know, there's no one speaking for South African farmers or victims of potential genocide. So I think that's why that's an issue for him.
You know, you're absolutely right, Cheryl. You're bang on. So she's saying, Nico, what they are relating it to is residents of downtown Ottawa who live near and where the convoys was parked, like the trucks, because, man, they were blocking downtown, no questions about it, complaining that they didn't feel safe and the noise disturbed them. They literally live downtown, which I've lived there before. It is noisy all the fucking time. You don't get to tell me, I want to live downtown, but I want it to be quiet. I would love downtown to be quiet. It doesn't work that way. And those Free Palestine protests, they are yelling. They're making a shit ton of noise. And I guarantee you that I wouldn't feel comfortable. I would have a couple of dudes with me if I were to go there and do the street interviews that I've done in the past, asking them questions. Because one of those fuckers might sucker punch me like I've seen done in the past. So don't give me this shit that one is worse than the other. Yet I guarantee you could have walked in the Freedom Trucker rally with anything on your shirt. It wouldn't have mattered. Nobody would have given a fuck. Nobody. I gave hundreds of fucking free hugs that when I was there. And you know what? Not sure that I would go to the Free Palestine protests and start giving free hugs to people. Just saying. If they hug me, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's a Russell Peter joke. Like, come here for a hug. Come in here for a hug.
Russell Peters is hilarious.
I got an answer to your question, by the way. In Canadian law, Jordan principle or RV Jordan are distinct concepts. Jordan's principle ensures First Nation children have access to government services without delays or denials due to their First Nation statute. A human right principle ensuring First Nation children receive government services without discrimination. I guess that doesn't count for clean water.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Hi-oh. And as Jordan, as Nick says, relative to the case we're talking about, it's a reasonable time to go to trial. Case gets thrown out if it takes too long. Yeah, because that's what 2 years or something.
3 years, like it's like 2022. Yeah, because the other guy it happened in 2022. He only got accused like 15 months later in 2023. So it literally is. It must be very fucking close to 3 years because it happened. It was fucking cold outside. I remember that because it wasn't summer, so it probably was like like a couple of months ago, like 3 years ago, but like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. I got you. Cheryl, I believe they're also going after people who sue people who donated to the convoy. That's just ridiculous. That's wrong.
They froze bank accounts. Yep, 100%. Yep.
Misfit, if you want quiet, then move into a rural area. Yeah, that's hard to argue with. Nick, continue.
How dare you? How dare you, Misfit?
How dare you?
Why do you hate women so much?
Yeah, with the common sense. Delays beyond 18 months for provincial court trials and 30 months for superior court trials are presumptively unreasonable. So yeah, is that not applying here? Because that seems like it's longer.
They didn't have to apply anything. They literally forced emergency acts down our throats to end it. So don't give me this shit. Like, it's all bullshit. It's been bullshit from the get-go. We are allowed to protest our government. We are.
Oh, 100%.
We are 100%. There was no violence. There was no bullshit. And see, that's what I thought. Cheryl is saying that I believe it was at the end of January, beginning of February 2022. I remember it was cold as shit. I remember that. So it had to be somewhere at the beginning of the year. That's what I thought too. So it's been 3 fucking years already.
Yeah.
Did you want to take more comments, or do we skip to the next one? Because this one is fucking hilarious. If you want a little laugh, King Carney is the person that we will be seeing in a second. The reason I'm showing him is because he was asked about the Reform Act, about how a few of his MPs would like to have the power to trigger a leadership review if things go south. And again, King Carney does what King Carney does best, and he's full of shit. So listen to this.
Catherine Levesque, National Post. I wanted to get your opinion on the Reform Act. You might have seen, but a few of your MPs say it's nothing against you, but they want to have the power to trigger a leadership review if things go south, maybe in a couple of years. Are you comfortable with this idea?
Is that a prediction, Catherine? I mean, what?
Never know.
Little confidence.
So early in your mandate.
Well, I'll say the following, which is that the Reform Act, all parties in Parliament, all recognized parties in Parliament are bound by the Reform Act. It's the law of the land, and therefore there are these 4 votes consistent with the Reform Act that will take place. They'll take place at the first caucus meeting, which is Sunday. So it's not. It's just.
That idea.
Well, I observe that this will happen. There'll be these votes.
I observe that this will happen, but I'm just looking at some of the comments because I posted it this morning. One of the comments is, LOL, he's such a funny and genuine guy, elbows up. But this is awesome. Because I for the past few days, I've been starting to call him Mark's Carney every time I talk about him. And it's picking up, bro. We're going to change his name. It's like Mark's Carney. I'm calling him that now. It's fucking awesome. This is the power of the internet. Mark Carney is now known as Mark's Carney, and I refuse to call him by his name anymore. He deserves that name. Mark's Carney it is. I love that it's picking up. Love it.
Misfit, he got nervous with that one. Yeah, he definitely did.
But there's nothing wrong with your MPs asking for the power to kick you out a month after you've been elected. It's literally the first caucus that they have since he's been elected, they're already gonna vote on getting the power to kick you out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, come on, seriously? No, there's no
Yeah.
problem there. It's normal. You almost made it sound like it's normal. Why
Just
do you ask
normal.
such question?
Yeah.
This is a right that we have in Canada, and it's totally normal that they want to kick me out already. I mean, that they want to have the power to kick me out. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. Like,
Look
they don't
inside-
fucking
look
trust.
inside yourself, Rosemary.
Oh,
Uh,
Jesus.
Did Sasquatch says, did you see if you own a business in Canada and move it to America in general, $1.5 million fine and 5 years in prison? I have not heard that. You'd have to. Do you have a link for that? Like, who would get you in trouble? Would it be on the Canadian side or the American side?
Hold on. Sylvie is saying something interesting here. Nico, did you see in the Carney video you just shown your last name is showing? Oh, yeah, of course. It's my post. I post with my last name all the time. It's because I'm verified, right? So I'm verified on social media. I am not AI. I'm actually real. So this is my last name. Yeah. I have a really French last name. Like I'm telling you, I'm not retarded. It's a French accent. I've told you before.
Misfit.
But yes.
Are we at a month already? Yeah, it seems. Yeah.
Oh, we have to be fucking close to it, aren't we?
I think so. Well, when was the election?
It's hard to
28th,
keep
right?
track between Trump and Carney. There's so much shit to talk about that in my head it's been a while. But no, you're probably right. I was in BC, so it's not even 3 weeks actually. Oh, goddamn. My apologies, Misfit.
Shortest sitting PM is like 6-7 days. Looks like Mark's gonna have another title to his name. I mean, I think he's still got the vast majority of support of liberals. I don't think he's he's got I think he's still got a pretty iron grip. If there's a few people, it'll be interesting to see if that becomes more people and they speak louder. But as of right now, they all seem to be lockstep. I'm not really hearing any real criticism. And there are things to criticize about. Certainly, you're not even hearing that much from the right. Like the conservatives. Like where?
You mean the liberals?
Wing liberals. The
right-wing liberals.
Fucking,
that's awesome.
Polyev kind of dropped off, right? When is that election? Anyone who's following that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The last thing I saw of him, he was giving a speech in front of the parliament, but he couldn't go inside, right? Because he has no business there anymore. So he's kind of trying to find a way to get outside of the video's view. It was fucking hilarious. He's just like, you see him like kind of disappear in the sunset, but there's no sunset. There's no way for him to go. So he kind of goes in like a shade portion to kind of disappear from the shot. It's kind of awkward.
That is really funny. Sasquatch says, Rob will post info in the Discord about that. Yeah, please do. I'd like to see that. And August. Wow, that's a long time. I was thinking that would be sooner.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it would have been called by now. But hey, the fuck do I know? The liberals are still trying to win a majority, so they still have some stealing to do.
Are they still counting?
Oh, there has to be. There has to be. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's go to the results.
Yeah, see what they say there. Fuck, that'd be funny. Which what site do you use? Do you use CBC?
Oh, of course. Might as well use our
vote tracker.
Might as well use our $1.4 billion funded news outlet.
Oh yes, that's correct.
So
looks like
Terrebonne is still 1%. They still accept Liberals won by 1 vote. Awesome. Liberals won by 12 votes in Terra Nova.
And 21 in Milton East.
And 21 in Milton East. No problem. And see how racist they are? Because the guy that ran for the Conservative was a brown guy. And the white woman that ran for the Liberals still won. Fucking Milton people, you're so racist. No, so it seems like the top 3 is still there, but we're still at 170. So it's still. Oh, I want to know what happened with Nunavut. Do you remember the how the fuck did we call them the blizzard ballots?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It looks like.
See, it comes up right there. Do you see it on the screen? You see my search? Oh, you don't see it. It's cut off at the top. Or do you see it?
I can see it.
You
You can see the bottom half of
Nunavut election blizzard ballots. When I type in Nunavut, so I guess we're not the only one looking for it. There's no updates. There's probably still a blizzard down there.
It all just kind of fades away into the background.
Yeah, Nunavut election result not validated as ballot box held up in cargo by blizzard. So still, hold on. 5 days ago.
But yeah, Canada confirmed elections. Canada confirms win for NDP incumbent. Yeah, when you look at that map, it looks like they've got everybody. I don't see any that are light. I think they're all solid colors.
I remember that they were winning by, hold on, let's do it right here. CBC election result, is that flipping? Yes. So I remember that the NDP had won by something like Nunavut is, what the fuck is Nunavut? Here we go. 36. No, they did not they did not count the ballots. Oh, how interesting. Because remember, they were winning by like 72 or 75, and there's 100 in the ballots. And I was like, oh, let's see the Liberal win 99 votes in that ballot. Yet they still gave it to them. So I guess they realized that they really don't need a majority, I guess.
Yeah. So what do we got next? Should we jump to the next one?
Yes, sir. This is so there's we're really getting good at this. Still got some time. So here is by far one of my favorite fucking thing to talk about. It is Dan Bongino.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got the flip.
Yeah, I'm gonna post that on our YouTube channel later on today. It's all done. I just need to click. But I saw that this morning, and I give credit to where I take things. But man, it is fucking hilarious, like hilarious. So somebody did the montage that I wanted to make, and you see Dan Bongino 2023 versus 2025. Listen to this.
That Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
That Jeffrey.
He killed himself.
That Trump one with Obama. He died like a dog.
But you know what's funny is he looks old, because I've seen quite a few of his videos in the past, but he almost looks like he's not real. Like he's all shiny, the skin's all stretched up.
Yeah.
It's funny because as we're saying that, I may be crazy. There was a comment here. I may be crazy, but whatever he's doing, I believe he believes is the right move at the time. Oh no, hold on. I personally question if he's dead at all.
I don't know, man. I don't find any of this surprising whatsoever. People seem shocked. Like, do they not understand that the vast majority of all these influencers they just want like the good life. They want to be on the inside. The inside that they're criticizing, it's only because they're not on it. The second they become on it, they will then go to defend the system. That's human nature. Dan Bongino, like what happened? What happened to him? They ask. Well, he became part of the system, and now he's going to defend the system instead of attack it. I'm not at all surprised. I'd be far more shocked if a Kash Patel or a Dan Bongino or however you Bongino, whatever the
say
fuck,
his name.
who are like loudly speaking against the system from the outside, go into the system and then still continue that. That would be shocking to me.
And you're not the only one, because look at this comment is literally saying what you're saying. Dan Bongino got swamped in the swamp.
Yeah,
He is now part of the swamp.
Of course he is. Of course he is. Like, once you're on
The
inside,
men in black got him. Cash and
no,
Bondi.
man, just lots of the good life got him. You know, once you get the perks of being on the inside, there's a reason why the system is so impenetrable, why the system is so resilient, is because it's fucking sweet when you're on the inside, and people who are on the inside will do whatever it takes to stay there. That's just, I mean,
but
this is how.
But I like
it
how
goes.
people are defending him.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're threatening his family.
Yes, of
his
course.
dog. Of course,
That's what it is.
I pray to God he's not compromised.
You knew he was the second they get named to these kind of positions, they're going to become compromised. They're going to be against everything they said before, because now they're on the inside, and it's much nicer. They got a lot nicer shit over there. That's the hold that, I think a lot of people are like, I don't, they think it's like, a lot of the questions about like deep state and whatnot, a lot of it's just, this is what happens once you start giving almost anybody, the perks of what it means to be on the inside. They want to continue getting those. It's a sweet life, man. Or
as some people have called him in the past, controlled opposition. He says something in order to get in the public eye. Once he's in the public eye, he gets into office, and now people like him so much that they have to wrestle. No, it's not possible.
It can't be true.
I was looking for a clone comment.
Yeah.
Oh,
is there one?
He's got cloned. That's why I've been scrolling at when you were talking. Just scrolling I'm just come on.
See, trust in
General
Bongino. He
Bongino.
knows the way. No, man, you can't like. It's just, I understand the skepticism, but it's like so many people that are like extremely skeptical on the right. They are also extremely trusting of anyone else who and it's like, point some of that skepticism at your own side too, because most of these people, and I don't even know a whole lot about Dan Bongino, but I just know human nature. I know most of these people don't actually give a shit about the things they talk about. What they just want to do is get a name. They just want to be famous. They want to be rich like everybody else. And then this is their opportunity. They don't give a shit about who actually killed fucking Epstein. Come on.
The 2023 version is like us having not seen the file. The 2025 version is afraid to death what he found. There's no way a guy like Epstein himself. There is a huge conspiracy that involves the entire deep state and both sides of the aisle. I agree that there is a huge conspiracy that involves the entire state, the deep state and both sides of the aisles, yet somehow, look, I love how they're defending him first. No, he's just part of the system. Clearly, he's part of the system. Clearly, he's accepted his role as, I will say whatever I'm being told to say, whatever I agree with it or not. Because no matter what, you can defend him all you want. Oh, he saw the file and now he's scared. He still chooses to go with the system no matter what. He talked a big game in front of a fucking microphone before getting in government. And now that he's in government, he killed himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
died like a dog. I love that.
Died like a dog. It is so funny. Bumpy says, did you guys see Glenn Beck's response to that interview? I didn't. Do you think you could try to find that really quick, Nico?
What do you mean? Do you think? Like, what the fuck do you think I am?
Yeah, that's right. I'm skeptical. I'm more of a libertarian, skeptical of both sides. Yeah, I mean, it's like, if you understand how human nature works, people on the left and right, everybody's human, right? And I think there's a aspect of tribalism where it's like, yeah, the other side, like one aspect of tribalism is the other side is always bad, but the other side of it is my side is always right, always good, and we couldn't possibly have grifters on our side, and of course that's nonsense. Moonglow, good morning to you, sir. Tony G says Epstein is probably living in Thailand. I think he's probably dead. I think they killed him. I don't think
Instead of saying I don't believe it,
have Epstein out there.
Ask.
Let's see what I believe Glenn Beck. Let's see what he says.
Ask questions. And here's the question
That's a
I ask
great
myself.
voice.
Yeah, it is great.
To believe Epstein killed himself, what is it I would need to see that could be produced? 1, full unredacted forensic and autopsy reports. I'd like to see it. I'd like to hear other coroners talk about it. I'd like to see other people, not just handpicked by the media, but I'd like to see the evidence myself. I'd like to hear from coroners all over. Okay. I'd like to see the surveillance footage or sworn testimony from neutral parties confirming no foul play on that. I want to know the history of that camera. I want to know when it went out exactly, and I know we do, but I want the whole thing, including the video leading up to it going out. I want a timeline that explains the broken cameras, the sleeping guards, and why the most high profile prisoner in America was removed from suicide watch just days before. Well, why did that happen? You see, it is the string of coincidence and the constant lies from both sides of the administration, both Republican and Democrat. We don't believe the Department of Justice anymore. We don't believe our FBI. We don't believe, apparently now, our own administration. That doesn't lead anywhere good. That's, let me just say the one name, Robespierre. That's what leads to out of control revolution.
Okay, I don't need to hear that part, but for this is exactly how you get in trouble on YouTube. So I will cut him off, but it's hard to disagree with him. Love him or hate the guy. I don't know who he is. Don't really care who he is, but he has a good voice, though. I got to give him. His microphone does a really good job. But I agree with what he's saying. Why is it not? It's not possible for us to have all the videos that led to the malfunction. What actually happened to cause the cameras to malfunction? Did other camera around that jail actually malfunction, or was it just the 2 ones that were pointing to his cell? Why was he taken off of on a live watch? Because he had tried to do it just not long prior to this. Is it a coincidence that the 2 guards missed their 30-minute every 30 minutes they were supposed to go visit, to go see, to make sure that all the prisoners are okay? So there's a lot of, and I agree with him, there's a lot of coincidence. So love the guy or don't, and clearly Sylvie is not a fan, as she calls Beck a full-blown Israel supporter. He doesn't care about the truth on Epstein. He'd rather have it swept under the rug. Maybe so. I don't know him, don't really care. But at the same time, common sense. What he just said there to me was common sense. But we'll never see those reports. We'll never see a coroner that is not working for the government. I'm not even saying Republican or Democrat, just a 3+. Who the fuck wants to be that coroner? I wouldn't want to be the coroner to say, yeah, that does not look like he did it. Yeah, you're going to get Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, as Sasquatch says, Glenn Beck is a blowhard, but he is spot on here. I could see him being a turncoat and accepting this administration is a good word for it. Yeah, they all have a price, man. Like, I think there's very, very, very few people out in the social media sphere that actually really give a shit about the things that they talk about. They just know what the people want to hear, right? And they give it to them. To me, I don't even think it's that. Like, to me, he was clearly killed, and I mean,
whoa, on a live,
yes, on a
for
live.
YouTube purposes. Rob does not know he has Tourette's.
Yeah,
so sometimes
right.
he says some really dumb fucking shit. That's a great great fucking analogy right there. We should use it all the time. They can't put us in trouble because you have Tourette's.
You've got Tourette's. Sorry, it's my Tourette's.
Yep.
Yeah,
and anybody has Tourette's, I'm sorry.
I honestly, people like play it as like this giant mystery. I don't think it's really even that big a mystery. You may not know the exact identities of the people that did it, like which of the global elites or billionaires specifically responsible, but it was one of them. Like we roughly know who it was. We know the type of person it was, and it's not going to change. They're still going to run the world. It's not like, even if let's say we found out tomorrow, we found out the name. I don't think it would really change anything, and I don't think we'll ever know the name. The best we can hope for is, because it was not one of these people. There was no billionaire that went into the jail and killed him with his bare hands. It was whoever did it. It was probably the guards, to be honest. That's almost certainly who it was. And then I checked their bank accounts, but like, whatever trail you find, it's got to go cold somewhere. Like that's these people aren't stupid. They've got all the money in the world, and they have every reason to hide their identity. I get that it's interesting to talk about, and that's why we talk about it. But there isn't any. I don't think there's any real surprises here.
No, I just think it's hilarious. Personally, I just think the irony is funny. But what's funniest is the comments.
Bongino, yes, yeah, of
it's
course.
the comments. So you have
he's playing the long game. Yeah, Bongino's playing the long game. That's what
but
no, he's not.
But his followers are still fucking trying to protect him. No, he's doing that because they're threatening him. Oh,
his dog.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, bro. I'm not even gonna argue with you, but thank you for the limitless supplies of comedy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not that hard. Once you get on the inside, they make it worth your while to play ball. That's how it goes. That's how it has always been that way, and it
Ask
forever
Carney.
will be that way. Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Ask Carney, double-fisted Mark's Carney.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I got a good one for you. This I only saw on Instagram this morning. I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, this can't be real. This has, it's one of those things. I had another story today I wanted to run, but then after I confirmed it, I'm like, there's only 2 places that talk about it. It's on Instagram. Yeah, sure. Cool story, bro. So I saw this story yesterday and I really wanted it to be true. When I read this, I was like, yes, please be true. Please be true. Please be true. And here's the report by Canada Proud. Le Bar Sport Le Vegas, a sport bar in Quebec City, is facing government and media scrutiny after saying that they will not hire any servers who are woke, pro-liberal, pro-CAC, or would have called the police on their neighbors after visitors during the pandemic. So I saw that. I'm like, oh, fuck yes, this is fucking awesome. Love it. I hope that it's true.
That's hilarious.
Obviously, you cannot trust the internet, right? So I did a bit more research, and it turns out that it is actually true.
It
is true. I found the actual post from the guy. He posted it on his Facebook. By the way, I invited him. I reached out to him this morning. I sent him an email. And I really hope he gets back to us because I would love to talk to him. But look at CTV News right here. No woke employees write Quebec City bar in ad. And here's the actual ad. And he's absolutely right. I looked at it. It's in French, but what they're reporting is absolutely right. And what is fucking hilarious is that's the owner. I don't want someone who during the pandemic would have called the police if their neighbors had visitors. He went on to say, we're not in the 1960s or 1970s, argued Richard Poulin. People used to hide, but I'm not hiding. Don't I have right? And then what's funny is this is the part that fucking that is so full of shit from the Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms. It says that it prohibits discrimination when it comes to hiring, particularly regarding an individual's political belief, in addition to race, sex, and age, explains employment lawyer Marie-Michelle Savard. If a person is rejected because of their political opinions, they can appeal it. Yet it was totally okay for the government to have me fired from my job for not taking the whoop whoop, put us on lockdown for months, keep on renewing an emergency act that's supposed to be temporary. That was super okay for them to have truckers arrested, to have bank account frozen, to have Tamara Litch and Chris Barber still in court. They just got accused. They were just found guilty of What was it? What was the term again? They got guilty.
Mischief, criminal mischief.
They just got fucking found guilty of mischief. And yet, how dare you not hire a woke employee? You know what, man? I've had employees before, and there's no fucking way in hell I would have employed a woke person. We are not gonna agree. I will not be able to say anything that goes against your fucking feelings.
Every day there's a complaint because someone misgendered them or didn't use the right pronouns, or they on their way to work, someone didn't call them they them, and so they need to go home and get
have
over
a day
that.
off.
Yeah, have a day off for the microaggression. Anyone in the right mind would not hire these people. But what's hilarious is nobody bats an eye when a university or a high up position says something like preference or only minority or LGBTQ members will be considered, or only visible minority or women.
That's not the same.
Applicants will be considered. Well, they will. I mean, are you saying it's not the same? Or are you saying that they'll say it's not the same?
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay, yeah, because it is, right? It's okay when it's against white people, right? When it's against the unfavored identity groups, it's perfectly fine. But once it's one against one of them, once it's one of the favored identity groups, according to the left, now we're all up and now we care about the rights and freedoms.
Yep, 100%. And as Bumpy says, my pronouns are he, him. My response is goodbye.
So we said, does Savard speak about DEI and how discriminatory that is? Of course, DEI is literally discrimination, like government sanctioned discrimination, but it's against it's against the unfavored identity groups. It's against the identity groups that you can discriminate against, and so nobody cares on the left. What do we have here? Sasquatch says Prime Minister Mark Carney to use. Oh, this is regarding what we were talking about a few minutes ago. The Foreign Extraterritorial Measures Act to penalize companies that shift production out of Canada. That is wild, man. That is fucking wild. I thought you must have been. I mean, I knew you weren't lying or anything, but I thought maybe you were misunderstanding something. But that's crazy. That actually is a real law. That's nuts. I'm gonna look at that. I want to look at that.
It really does not surprise me.
That is crazy. I mean, I guess it does, but I guess it shouldn't. They would, they'll penalize companies. What, $1.5 million? Is that what Sasquatch said for moving production? Imagine they're only moving because the business environment has been made unsustainable for them.
You're really having problems with your mic.
I can hear it. I'm gonna get a new mic cable after we're done here.
One other thing. There's one more thing. Man, we went through a lot of subjects today. I'm so proud of ourselves. There's one thing I wanted to talk about, which I found to be interesting because I'd love to get more information on this. So for the listeners, if you do have more articles, more proof of this, because again, what you see on the internet and you're like, oh, goddamn, it's really happening.
Yeah.
So I saw this post. Let me bring it up yesterday. And I'm like, of course, this can't be true, right? This can't be, it has to be, something has to be wrong with this. But of course, there's some truth to it. So I saw this post yesterday that says Mark Carney approves $80 million Sharia Law elementary school in Edmonton, Alberta. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I looked into it, and this is actually true. There is an article that I cannot access on the Toronto Star, but supposedly that Daniel Smith's government has provided $6.8 million to that school. So and this is as much information as I could actually find. So I really would like for you guys in our awesome listeners, if you have found something about this Islamic school that is being built in Alberta or Edmonton, Alberta, please send it on the Discord server. I would love to hear more. But here's the headline. New Edmonton Islamic Academy will have space for 1,600 children with a growing list. So basically they're booked, but they are looking to build a school that is Islamic. So Sharia law, is it the real term as it says there? Is it really that?
Yeah, well,
it's
that's what I
part
was
of-
thinking. I was thinking because, like, technically, Islamic school is not the same as Sharia law. It depends on what they're actually teaching. They could be teaching Sharia law,
Yeah.
and I think we would need to find that out.
Which is exactly my point.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm talking about it. And I'm looking for you guys to help me out if you can
And I
find
think that's
something.
I think that's an important thing to try to distinguish, right? Because we don't want to just kind of take something at face value. It's, it's important for us to be accurate on the show.
PB in Alberta, what a fucking great comment. She's saying
yeah.
that Muslims are tired of their kids being
That's what I
taught to
mean.
be
Like,
gay.
there are definitely legitimate reasons why the Islamic community might want to have their own schools, right?
We don't want any homos.
yeah.
Okay. No hey for us. But this is, I just found it to be interesting because it's already full 1,600. I didn't realize that there was that much
demand
of a Muslim community in Edmonton, Alberta.
Mhm.
It is basically the only liberal, it's one of the two liberal strongholds in Alberta, one of the only two, I think. Maybe the only one, because I think it's one NDP and one liberal. But I was just very, very fucking surprised. But see here, it says that the Edmonton Islamic Academy has broken ground on what they're calling the largest faith-based educational development in Canada. Its new 80 million elementary school campus. That is ridiculous. So I think that's where they're getting it from, because obviously somebody needed to approve it. Not sure that it is a federal jurisdiction over a provincial jurisdiction.
Mhm.
Because here is not saying that we paid for an $80 million Sharia law elementary school, right? That's not what the headline is saying. It's basically saying that it is what the cost of that school will end up being. But that means somebody approved it, either in Alberta, because normally schools is a provincial matter, maybe municipal in this case, but somebody in government approved this. Is it Mark Carney? I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's been approved it's been approved for longer than 3 weeks ago. But at the same time, just proves that you can't trust everything you see on the internet. But you see how people are clever, right? The way they create content. Like they're just
absolutely
like this. I saw that and I'm like, motherfucker. 2 seconds of research. I'm like, I see where you got the 80 million from, because it is 80 million. Did somebody have to approve it? Yes. Was it Carney? I doubt it.
Yeah. And you do have to, that's media literacy in the age of social media. You do have to, because there are a lot of people who just read a headline and accept it and go on a rant.
Of course they do.
And you don't.
I know, but that is truth now. Memes are truth now. So
right.
Question the memes.
Yeah. Misfit. Mark's just moved Brooksfield to the U.S. Surely he would be scrutinized as well, right? I suspect he will not have to pay that fine.
Everything got put in a trust before you had to do it.
Yes,
Coincidence?
Of course.
Or was he just a very responsible politician that just wanted to make sure that it was done properly, that we wouldn't have to wait for King Mark Carney?
Of course. That's exactly
a bitch, please.
That's
bitch,
exactly how it went down. Want to put a pin in her there, or did you want to?
Well, it seems that Rob has an appointment that's more important than you guys.
Take my kid to a doctor's appointment, so we're gonna have to cut it 15 minutes early. I know it's get your priorities straight.
I just want to mention something, Rob. Just tell your kid he cannot grow taller. It is a gene problem. They will be short, and it's okay. There's nothing that they can do, and his dick size is neither a problem. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this, because that would be hilarious.
Take him to a psychologist just to help him accept all these things. Misfit, sure, blind trust, wink wink, right? Yes, of course. Obviously. We all know it's very blind. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate that. We got again another excellent episode. Lots of comments, lots of engagement. We're gonna on Fridays, we keep things a little light, but you never know if there's, depending on what's happening, we're gonna have to talk about whatever's on the go. But we'll have some fun tomorrow. We'll have some laughs. Hopefully, have a great night, guys. Check us tomorrow, same time as always, 12 noon Eastern time to 2:30ish Eastern time. But guys, have a great night, and we will check you tomorrow.
Peace.
You as well, Sharon.